Katt Williams tried to warn people, and once again, it looks like he was ahead of the curve. Long before official documents ever came out, he was already calling out powerful celebrities and saying the truth was hiding in plain sight. Now that the Epstein files are public, a lot of those old warnings suddenly don't sound so crazy. In fact, they sound right on time. When Katt sat down on Club Shay Shay, he didn't just crack jokes. He opened the door to conversations Hollywood didn't want anyone having. He hinted that famous names, not just politicians, were tangled up in things they didn't want exposed. Back then, people laughed it off or called him bitter. But now, with names showing up in court documents and flight records, denial is getting harder to hold on to. Once the Epstein files dropped, fans rushed to protect their favorite stars. Many people just couldn't accept that celebrities they admired could be mixed up in serious allegations. Jay-Z is one of the names that caused the biggest reaction.
If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living our people, so how the they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, I think they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Liars are now the face of our culture.
An anonymous accuser mentioned him in the documents, which immediately sparked outrage from his supporters. They argued that the timing didn't make sense, saying he was just starting his career in the mid-1990s and didn't have access to elite circles yet. But being new to fame doesn't mean being new to connections. Those are two very different things. Even early in his career, Jay-Z was already moving comfortably in powerful spaces. Old clips and interviews resurfaced, showing him closely associated with industry figures like Harvey Weinstein. And to many viewers, the dynamic looked uncomfortable, almost controlled. People who revisited those moments said it raised questions they hadn't noticed before.
In your thoughts on Donald Trump and what it means for what it means for mass incarceration.
You know what? This is a labor of love for Jay, and as a result, he's my friend. We're here to talk about that and nothing else.
Well, then can I ask about mass incarceration? And do you think the movement is...
On top of that, old photos and videos began circulating again, placing Jay-Z at high-profile parties alongside controversial figures. At the time, many brushed Kanye off. Now, people are replaying those words with fresh ears. Things didn't stop there. Other celebrities named in the files are also facing renewed scrutiny. Naomi Campbell's name appeared through flight records, showing she traveled multiple times on Epstein's private jet in the early 2000s. She has publicly said she had no knowledge of his crimes and has stated that she stands with victims. Still, emails and past footage circulating online have caused many people to question how much she really knew and what role she may have played in recruiting young models under the guise of work opportunities.
I'm still shocked that there's nothing about Naomi Campbell really coming forward yet. I'm surprised. I'm like bitterly surprised. Her ties.
They said her name was on the list like the most as far as like flight records.
Yeah.
She was on a lot of flights.
A lot of flights.
You mentioned
also Diddy's ex-girlfriend.
Hey.
Isn't that funny? What a small world.
There you go.
After the party is the hotel lobby. After the hey.
Come on, Jack. Come on. Hey.
You want to know what's funny though?
Yeah.
Naomi Campbell is finally being pregnant.
Yeah. What? Y'all ain't heard? Y'all ain't
Cruella DeVille is finally being checked.
Wow. Hey, I've seen something on that.
Listen to me, any woman that Mike Tyson has to put a restraining order on needs to be checked.
That is facts. Them is facts. Oh, wait, hold on, wait.
I keep telling everybody, she the Ghislaine.
Man.
I'm still trying to figure out how she pulled that off. Where she was able to get a white woman to go to jail for.
Then there's Bill Gates. Years ago, he admitted on television that spending time with Epstein was a mistake and claimed it was limited to a few dinners. But the documents paint a deeper relationship, including repeated contact and connections that went beyond casual meetings. Not long after, his marriage ended, with Melinda Gates later speaking openly about how disturbed she was by Epstein and how deeply it affected her. Bill recently came out to deny the allegations and apologize for his association with Epstein. But not many people believe him.
I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him. No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that. It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Even Chris Tucker's name appeared in the records, linked to a flight taken on Epstein's jet in the early 2000s. While being listed doesn't automatically prove wrongdoing, the growing list of familiar names has made one thing clear. This wasn't a small circle, and it wasn't limited to one industry. Chris and his team quickly went into damage control mode. They claimed his name only came up because he happened to be on Epstein's private jet for a so-called humanitarian trip to Africa, focused on charity work and AIDS awareness.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different, that was a humanitarian trip to Africa. And I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation. And yeah, I met him and you don't know people, what they do in their private lives. So, yeah.
But tell me this, Chris. You was on this private plane. And you could tell that it was a private plane because they called it, Lolita Express?
Oh, yeah, it was a private plane. Yes. Oh, yes.
But wait a minute. You didn't never go to that island, did you?
No. I don't know where that thing at. No. I don't think. Hey, we was going to Africa to save lives.
According to them, the trip also included Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey, so it was supposed to look official and innocent. But almost nobody believed that explanation.
Tucker. Hey, I know Donald Trump. Hey, I know Kevin Spacey. Hey, I know Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, did he ever talk about these celebrities and like these stories with them or anything like that?
No, he would tell me things like I knew when he flew Clinton to Africa, which is what first put him on the map. He told me he went to Africa. He took Spacey, Chris Tucker. He would mention people's names that he was with, but he wouldn't tell me much about them themselves. Mm-hmm. But he would tell me he was with so-and-so.
Bringing up Bill Clinton actually made things worse. By now, everyone has seen the photos of Clinton inside Epstein's mansion, looking way too relaxed for someone who supposedly didn't know what was going on. To a lot of people, that comfort spoke louder than any statement. And Chris? He was around these same circles while all of this was happening, yet he wants the public to believe he had no idea about anything. That's a hard sell. And just when it seemed like Katt was done, other voices entered the fray. As these documents circulated, longtime singer Jaguar Wright resurfaced with her own perspective, adding fuel to ongoing conversations about power in the music industry. In a lengthy interview, she explained that her issues with Jay-Z didn't come from one single incident. Instead, she said it was something she watched build over time.
Adjacent to or, traveling in the same circles as the person that's been selected to be this icon. Because let's just be very clear. He was selected, just like Diddy was selected. Question is by who? Now, for many years, I minded my business about a lot of things, but a lot of things came to me. I heard a lot of things. You got to remember, this was back when I was still trying to be amicable with the industry so that I could have my career, so that I could have my life, right? Everything that I worked for, everything that I sacrificed. Up until, what? 2016, 2017, I was still ignoring a lot of things. A lot of things. It wasn't until I couldn't ignore it anymore because I realized this ain't going nowhere. And then when I started seeing exactly how dangerous things had become, it was very simple. It's either you're going to speak up or they're going to keep getting away with it, or you're going to get handled up on regardless because you're not playing along the way you should be playing along. Like that's how this works. Like, the people that get rewarded are the people that keep the secrets, the people that are quiet, and the people that lie for them. The people who get a pass are the people who pretend that like they don't know what's going on. And then the people that speak up are the people that, you know, get persecuted, get framed, get trashed, you know, are forced to go broke, you know, that kind of shit. So yeah, like, I cannot say that it was an overnight process. I was hoping. See, I was always so quick to just blame, you know, all of the harm and just the terrible shit in the industry on Diddy. I wasn't really willing to accept the fact that they were working together.
Eventually, she reached a breaking point. According to her, the industry didn't reward honesty, it rewarded silence. Those who kept secrets, played along, or pretended not to see anything were protected. Those who spoke up, she claimed, were pushed out, discredited, or financially destroyed. Jaguar also said she once blamed all the damage she saw on Diddy alone. Over time, she said she realized the situation was bigger and more connected than she wanted to admit. That's why she found it hard to believe public claims that certain powerful figures were never close or never worked together, especially when past interviews and footage suggested otherwise.
So, Jag, with Jay-Z and his situation, as far as the early Jay-Z, you see him with Aaliyah Young, of course, goes to Dame Dash next. You see him with Foxy Brown. You see the maturation of Beyonce and him getting with Beyonce. You see Rihanna at a young age. Is it more so, and you were young as a singer, is it more so that, you know, when you're in this industry, men are going to most likely talk and date their peers? And it's just that technically all the new rising stars at that time
are babies.
Were just young women, just young kids.
Babies. Being ran around by grown men. Babies. I got offered my first record deal when I was 13 years old. I got offered another one when I was 15. I'm so grateful that my father said no. I ended up not signing a record deal until I was in my early 20s. And as young as that is, looking back now, at least I was a legal adult. Most of these girls, they get moved around and touched around very early on. And, you know, and the people that have control of everything are untouchable. So how do you argue with that?
Is it of concern that before this list came out, that the people in this power they have their hands in keeping this list, you know, suppressed?
Yeah. Come on, man. I think we're speaking about this from a place where we're trying to make it seem like things are fair and people are just and people are decent. And rather than looking at it for what it is, the one thing that all of these files and all of these documents, and let's just be clear, we're talking about 3 million documents that have been released so far. When you release that amount of information, you're doing it to fatigue people. You know, it's going to take people quite some time to get through all of these files, and who knows how long they're going to be available. Stuff might start go missing, things of that nature. But we all should be going through and combing through every inch of everything that's going on, because when they put that much out there, they're hoping you're going to just overlook something. They're hoping you're going to get fatigued from all of the information, and you're not. We got to keep looking. Like, we have like 4 people around us that are every day combing through a bit. We combing through a bit. And you got to sit down and you got to take your time and look at it. What these files prove is that there are no rules, is that nothing has ever been fair. It's been being covered up. Like, that's the point.
She explained that denial is comfortable for people. It's easier to dismiss uncomfortable information than to face it. She pointed to media voices who downplay the Epstein documents, saying things like, names being mentioned doesn't mean anything, or these aren't official, or it was just a tip line. Jaguar wasn't buying it. Her question was simple. If none of it meant anything, why were the files kept for so long? She said people are quick to destroy innocent individuals over rumors, yet bend over backwards to defend powerful figures whose names are tied to Epstein. To her, that doesn't make sense. If someone's name is connected to Epstein in any serious way, she believes that alone should raise serious questions, not automatic excuses. When the conversation shifted to the Department of Justice, the host asked the big question: why were these files hidden for so long? The Epstein Files Transparency Act only came into play in mid-2025, forcing disclosure. But before that, both the Trump and Biden administrations had opportunities to release the information, and neither did. Jaguar was clear. This isn't about politics.
Trump administration, don't forget the Biden administration had the ability to release these files as well, and they didn't either.
True.
So this isn't a political thing. Let's stop making it political. I think everyone wants to make it political. Oh, look at the politicians, and this isn't about the rappers, and this isn't about this, and this is about the politicians. No, it's not. No, it's not, because you got Democrats and Republicans equally aligned up in this whole foolishness. This is about a certain class of people in this country that have been doing all kinds of shit. And it really doesn't matter what your religious background is, what your social standing is, or what your political standing is. It really doesn't matter. This is not about them versus us, or no. This is about the weirdos and then the normal people. And not even normal people, just decent people. The problem is that the weirdos are outnumbering, it's looking like, the decent people, 10-1. Like, does anybody get that? Like, the simple fact that nobody is holding TMZ into account for anything, and they've been mentioned in these files. Harvey Levin specifically.
To Jaguar, the silence says everything. Elon Musk's situation also took a sharper turn with the document release. Musk has previously said he refused invitations to Epstein's island, but emails from 2012 suggest something different.
Tonight, the Department of Justice releasing their final batch of files connected to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. New emails from 2012 and 2013 show billionaire Elon Musk and Epstein coordinating a possible visit to the financier's infamous island. Musk asks when the wildest party will be. In another exchange, Epstein telling Musk there is always space for you and says he will send a heli for him. It's not clear if Musk ever visited the island. Musk's name has popped up in prior releases, including from the House Oversight Committee's release from the Epstein estate. He did not respond to NBC News' request for comment, but previously called Epstein a cretin and said he never advised him. Musk told Vanity Fair that Epstein tried repeatedly to get him to his island, but he declined. Emails also show Trump Cabinet Secretary Howard Lutnick coordinating a visit in the Caribbean in 2012. It's not clear if the meetings happened. Lutnick claimed to have cut ties with Epstein in 2005.
My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
But the emails show drink and lunch meetings being arranged between the two well into 2012. A Commerce Secretary spokesperson said in a statement, quote, Secretary Lutnick has had limited interactions with Mr. Epstein in the presence of his wife and has never been accused of wrongdoing. The drop also includes a spreadsheet summary of complaints made to the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. It contained allegations against former President Donald Trump and former President Bill Clinton. There's no indication the FBI turned up evidence supporting the tips. And a note on the file read some of these individuals are reporting secondhand information and determined some of the tips were not credible. The DOJ later temporarily pulled the file without explanation. Both former presidents have denied any wrongdoing.
Woody Allen's name appears repeatedly throughout the files. Epstein often tried to organize dinners involving Allen, sometimes looping in other well-known figures. Epstein also helped facilitate introductions related to Allen's film projects. A prominent lawyer contacted Epstein about getting his son work on an Allen film, and Epstein responded that he would look into it. Katt Williams also pointed out something else people don't like to talk about. He said there are public figures who project one image, but somehow never seem to run into legal trouble, and you don't always know who's playing what role. When asked whether public figures sometimes seem changed after reaching certain, always come out the same on the other side of big choices. Once someone crosses lines they once swore they never would, something about them shifts, and no amount of image repair can fully bring back who they used to be. He explained that offers and pressure aren't limited to entertainment. They show up in every field. Some of it, he said, is just human nature. People listen. People stay quiet. People justify things to survive. Katt shared that even he was shocked when he personally saw how much control certain powerful figures had behind the scenes. He said there were moments when it became clear that some people were used to never hearing the word no. If they wanted something, they expected the system to bend until they got it. Toward the end, the conversation touched on government agencies and long-standing rumors. Katt didn't dismiss them outright. He said people often misunderstand what agencies like the FBI or CIA actually do. In his view, they've always been doing their jobs. Sometimes that job involves watching, documenting, and waiting, for decades if necessary. He made one final point that landed hard. The only reason files can surface decades later is because someone was watching and recording the whole time. And that realization, he said, is the part that should really make people uneasy. Now that the files are public, celebrities who once felt untouchable are suddenly quiet, defensive, or disappearing from the spotlight. Hollywood is uncomfortable right now, and for the first time in a long time, it shows.